And here on BBC Two Northern Ireland in half an hour. First, some outdoor therapy.
Hello, welcome to a special Gardeners World programme about allotments. Now, this allotment is in the middle of Birmingham and is typical of thousands of similar sites right across the country. But the truth is we are losing allotment sites year on year. In fact, at the rate of about 50 a year. And there has been a decline in allotment use. But that was until recently, because an interesting phenomenon seems to be occurring. There is a resurgence of interest in allotments, and at the moment there are about 13,000 people on a waiting list to take up a new plot. Now, what I want to know is, who are these people? So tonight I'll be meeting allotment holders with their own stories to tell. We'll be finding out what an allotment means to garden writer and designer Cleve West, and looking at a new film tipped to be the next big British movie which shows how an allotment can transform people's lives.
My allotment is my favourite place to be. It's my sanctuary. It's the place where I do my most relaxing. It has a very positive effect on my life. We eat fresh veg all year round. We're self-sufficient in salads. We don't have to buy bags from the supermarket anymore. There's definitely been a change in the age profile. There's a lot of young families arriving now, lots more children here with their parents, helping to dig out, making new friends with each other.
Well, I've had my allotment here now for just over a year, and I'm really enjoying it. It means a lot to me because I'm really conscious now about where food comes from, you know, food miles and eating in season, really. I just wish I could spend more time. No matter how much time I come to the allotment, it's never enough for me, really. And nothing beats growing your own potatoes. If everyone could just grow one crop, even if it was in their back garden in a big pot, it's got to be spuds. Nothing like it.
I've always lived in the local area. My dad had an allotment here, so we just felt that maybe we should get one, give him a bit of a hobby as well as ourselves. But it's proving to be challenging already. It's only our third week here.
Yeah, and it will be nice to actually know where our vegetables are coming from and that we've grown them, which I think will be quite an achievement.
One step at a time. Once it's clear, I think we'll have a better idea of what we're going to grow.
Well, it's interesting that one of the few people working out here in the rain is young. Now, I know she's called Natalie. Natalie?
Hiya.
I don't want to stop you, but although I suspect the weather might stop you in a minute. How long have you had this plot?
4 weeks.
Really? So very recent?
Yes.
And you've done masses. Was it pretty good nick when you
No, it was completely overgrown, brambles, and, you know, it was a real mess.
So does anything put you off?
No, I'm pretty determined. But I do have help. I mean, I've got an allotment partner.
Right.
I could never have done it on my own, not with young family and...
I was going to say, how do you cope with... Hello? You?
Come on, now.
Why do you take it on?
Because I'm a vegan and the rest of my family are vegetarian, and we eat a massive amount of vegetables. That's what most of my supermarket trolley is normally filled with. From an ethical and a health point of view, and a cost point of view, frankly, we really would like to have our own vegetables and be almost self-sufficient. So, you know, it does bring its rewards otherwise, as you know.
I've been very impressed by the amount of knowledge that this new generation of plot holders have. But taking on an allotment is never an easy option. And I also met some absolute beginners who are in desperate need of a helping hand. Do you know what these are?
Yeah, it's not bindweed by any chance, is it?
Yeah, these are bindweed roots, and they haven't just got here by accident. The thing about bindweed, it's very brittle. The roots are brittle, and one tiny little bit like that is enough to infest the whole area.
Okay.
It'll grow from a very, very small fraction of root. So you have to dig it all out.
Okay.
And that just has to happen.
Right. I like to grow a mix of the kind of vegetables that I normally buy from a supermarket, save myself some money, and hopefully get some good taste. Preferably if I can grow some summer vegetables as well, things like lettuces, radishes,
right.
Anything
I think
like that.
the important thing, if you've got an allotment, is to have seasonal food.
Right.
So you really want something growing 12 months a year.
Right.
I think the main thing with allotment is that you're controlling what's happening rather than it is controlling what you're
Okay.
doing.
I think it's winning at the moment.
Of course it is. Give it a chance. You've only had a couple of weeks. Okay, let's have a look. I'll tell you something. Word of advice, because you're going to be doing a lot of digging.
I can see that.
To save your back, it's worth sort of doing it with minimum effort. If you always put the spade in so it's straight, people tend to go like that. That's a really inefficient way. If you go like that always, and then use your foot to lever in, and just, you'll find that it's much, much more effective. So it's a chopping tool, really, as much as anything. They are saying now that gardening is the best exercise you can possibly do.
Yeah.
Because you've got suppleness, you've got strength, you've got fitness, you've got sort of mental
Good for
fitness.
the mind.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I've just retired. I took that on just before Christmas, about
That's
4
right.
weeks before Christmas. It was like this.
Yeah.
And we decided, freezing cold, we would come up for 2 hours every day. I was a 42-inch waist, I'm now down to a 40.
Yeah.
And I still have me burn and still eat me grub like I normally do, but it's took 2 inches. I mean, it's amazing.
Jenny, sorry to interrupt your good work, but the truth is, this is a fairly overgrown plot, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is.
How long have you had it?
Since last year.
So, I mean, is it daunting?
Yeah, it can be, but I've just decided not to be daunted. I'm just going to take little chunks and do it bit by bit.
How much time do you get to spend down here?
Not enough, really. I think we make it down maybe once every 2 weeks, sometimes once in a month on a bad month. It's not very often.
It needs to be more than that, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It does seem to me that there are more and more people who are younger, your sort of age group, rather than the stereotypical retired bloke.
Yeah, it seems to be coming back into fashion, actually. It's nice. There's more of a mix of ages here, I think, which is really nice. And there's still the older people who know a lot about it to borrow things off and ask, so that's nice as well.
Good. Keep with it.
Thank
Keep
you.
with it. Now, this trend or fashion does seem to be manifesting itself in various ways, because there is a big new feature film about allotments coming out later this year. And last summer, I went up to Liverpool to watch them during the filming.
What are they, anyway? Only it better not be anything dodgy. Drugs like. Cannabis or bloody sunflowers. Or delphiniums, I can't stand the sight of them. I don't want to be looking at delphiniums all day.
Shark fin melon. Shark fin melon.
Shark fin melon. Oh, that's all right then. Nobody minds a bit of shark fin melon, do they?
When I heard that a film was being made based on an allotment, and to a degree inspired by the allotment special that we made 3 years ago for Gardener's World, it intrigued me. And of course, when they asked me to come along, I had to be here. Now, the last time I was on a film set, I was actually delivering jewellery we had made, but that was a long time ago.
Standing by for a take and action.
Luke, first of all, what's the film about?
The film is about a group of refugees who are given some plots of land on an existing allotment, which you see around you here. They are part of a scheme run by a psychotherapist to provide a different type of therapy for various traumas they may have suffered back in their own countries.
And I gather that the allotment programme that we made a few years ago had some influence.
It did. That sort of community melting pot that was depicted in the Birmingham allotments is very much what this film is about. But we also use it, I'd say actually, quite unashamedly, we stole quite a lot of the ideas for people's allotments.
Carl Hunter and Claire Heaney came up with the original idea and have been involved in the creation of the film from the start.
So the film is full of actual gardening tips. Cradles for keeping strawberries in, telescopic bean poles.
Even a bra for supporting your melons.
She's just... The one tip I think was brilliant is it's a way of not digging the allotments, which is to cover it in manure, cover it in cardboard, cover it in polythene, and then cut holes in it and put the potatoes into the holes and then just leave it. That's a fantastic tip. The film is one great big gardener's programme disguised as a feature film.
Even though I've been going to flower shows for 30 years or more, it is still a wondrous thing to see an entire allotment site created from scratch in just a few weeks. And it's more than that, because they're having to redress the allotments for different seasons of the year. Just think how hard that is.
Just about 2 months ago, there was literally nothing here. This was a wasteland. It was actually a kind of a very desiccated wildflower meadow.
Edith Pope, a farmer, has had the task of growing the plants and bringing the set to life.
It was the wrong time of the year because seeds like to germinate in spring, and given it was July, I said I'd have a go, and they all germinated, 2,800 and something plants, and they all look very good now.
If you want to know the true meaning of shark's fin melon, you'll have to see the film for yourself, and I do urge you to do so. It's really good and will be out later on this year. Now, allotments began life actually in the countryside at the end of the 18th century to supplement farm workers' wages so they could grow some food. But then with the Industrial Revolution, people moved to towns and cities and took with them the desire to grow things, and they were allotted space, hence the word allotment. So it always came back to the same thing that we demand of allotment nowadays, a lack of space and yet the desire to grow something.
I like veggies that are kind of fairly hardy, rough and ready, and I can just chuck the seeds in and things will grow. And so, but you know, I get bumper crops of kind of onions and potatoes and garlic and all the staples. And then I've tried the odd lettuce and things like that, but I'm still having an ongoing battle with slugs, and so I haven't had any luck with those. It's quite magical, you know. You put in a potato, and then you know, few months around, you get to dig up, you know, all this fantastic kind of harvest of potatoes, and it's a bit kind of magical how these things grow a lot of the time.
It did sort of get overgrown, and we did lose control of it. We got a letter, and we could have given it all in, but we didn't. We did come up and start all over again from scratch.
We're just going for the little and often approach, like, I don't know, try and get down for an hour a week or 2 hours or something like that, and just focus on one section of the plot and then forget about the other bit for this year, and hopefully next year we'll get in control of that as well, and just seeing things growing, isn't it? Just anything growing really, because we're not experts. We've got plenty of books and read the back of the seed packets and stuff, but I think just plant things and see what happens really, and stuff just does grow.
It is nice to
grow
it.
In such close vicinity of a big city, to have such a place like this is a lovely place to come to. So if we're not careful, we're going to lose a lot of our allotments to developers and things. So we do need to keep them all lit and reasonably looking. Keep them off our backs, really. We've got to keep these things and pass them on to our children.
Allotments really took a huge surge in uptake in the First World War because there was a great need to grow food to counter the blockade. And of course, in the Second World War, with the Dig for Victory campaign, this momentum was kept up as well. But the end of the Second World War saw a diminished role for the allotments, and interest in personal food production declined as supermarkets, industrial farming and industrial food production grew, and with other pressures on the use of land, thousands of acres of allotments fell into disuse, and many were taken back by local authorities for development. Since 1969, the number of allotments has halved, and now there are only 250,000. And if that sounds a lot, bear in mind that there were 1.5 million allotments at the end of the Second World War.